Buenos días otra vez. Estoy enfermo, pero ustedes van a practicar para la prueba hoy durante la clase. La prueba es mañana. Para la prueba, ustedes van a contestar 10 preguntas en español. Las preguntas van a ser preguntas de sí o no acerca de usted. Cada pregunta vale 3 puntos. Un punto para decir sí o no. Un punto para cambiar el verbo a la forma yo. Y un punto para usar lo, la, los o las correctamente. Therefore, the focus of today is to make sure you're ready to take this quiz tomorrow. This activity, practice 4, was essentially a quiz review, and you'll do another one today, very similar to it, based on the questions some of you submitted yesterday. So the first thing you should do is decide if you want to say yes or no for each of these questions. That simple task will get you 1 point for each question on the quiz tomorrow. So again, let's continue with number 4. This question is asking, do you like to listen to rock music? So again, this is starting with a simple yes or no. Let's assume you do. The second point then is for changing the verb. And the verb, notice, is always going to come at the beginning to the I form. Normally that just means add in an O. However, there are some irregular verbs like gusta. So le gusta, when you say I like, becomes me gusta. Oops. Sorry about that. Me gusta. Escuchar, I like to listen to. And then after the whole verbal phrase is completed, you take out whatever is after it. In this case, it's la música rock, and replace it with lo, la, los, or las. Since it's la música rock, we would use la. The final question then is where to put that. Since we have a word that ends with AR, we can add it right on the end. Remember, we can always add the lo, la, los, or las right on the end when we have one of these 5 ends. We have escuchar, so we can put it right on the end. Number 5 is asking if you play the piano right now. You're probably not playing the piano right now, so we'll start with no. Then you have to change the verb, that first word, to the I form. This is another example of an irregular verb. Está becomes estoy. So we have no estoy tocando. I am not playing right now. We take out what comes after, the piano, and we have to replace it with lo, la, los, or las. Since it's el piano, we use lo. Since we have ando, tocando, and that's in our list over here, we can just add it right on the end. No estoy tocándolo. Number 6 is asking if you feel like watching TV. So let's assume you do. So we'll start that response with sí. Sí. And then tiene is not tiene. This is another example of an irregular verb. It becomes tango. We complete the verbal phrase, which here has several parts, and then we're going to take out la televisión. So, since it's la televisión, we would use la to replace it, and we're going to put it at the end here because we have a word that ends with ar, mirar. We'll skip the last part of that question just for now. Number 7 is asking, do you like to visit friends? So let's assume you do. So we'll say sí. Now again, as we saw in number 4, le gusta becomes me gusta when we change it to the I form. I like to visit, we're taking out los amigos. and replacing it with los. So it becomes me gusta visitarlos. Again, I can put it right on the end there because I have a word, visitar, that ends with AR. Number 8 is asking, do you visit museums? So let's assume you don't. So let's start this one with no. Again, that gets you 1 point. No. We change the first word to the I form, which in most cases, this word included, is just adding the O on the end, changing the A to an O. We take out what comes after, los museos, and then we would put in lo, la, los, or las. Since it's los museos, we would use los. Now you might be tempted to put it right on the end. However, visito does not end with any of these 5 endings we have here. Because of that, we have to put it right before the verb. So it is no, los visito. A couple more examples here. Number 9 is asking, do you have to take the bus? So let's say you do. So you'd say sí. And then tiene again, when you change to the I form, becomes tango. And you're saying, I have to take it. So we take out the word bus and we replace it with lo. Since tomar ends with AR, we can add it right on the end. For number 10, do you like to listen to the teacher? Let's assume you do. So we'll say sí. Again, le gusta becomes me gusta. Complete the verbal thought. So we have sí me gusta escuchar. We're taking out what comes after, which in this case is the teacher. So you're saying I like to listen to him. Since it's him, you would use lo. Again, we have a word that ends with AR, so we can add it right on the end. Lastly, number 11, do you eat meat? Unless you're vegetarian, you'd probably say yes, so we'll say sí. And then, to change it to the I form, we add an O. Come becomes como. We take out la carne, which means meat, and it will be replaced by la. Since we don't have anything that ends with AR, ER, or IR, we have to put it right before the verb, which in this case is to eat, so it becomes si la como. So going back to what you have to know for the quiz tomorrow, the yes or no part's easy. Start all the sentences with si or no. Changing to the I form is generally pretty straightforward. You just add a no. There are some examples in this practice activity and the one you'll complete in a minute that are different. The ones that you'll have to know for the quiz tomorrow are va becomes voy, le gusta becomes me gusta, está becomes estoy, and tiene becomes tengo. So these are the only irregular ones you will see tomorrow. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4. So you always add O unless you have one of those 4 irregular ones. And then you'll have to use lo, la, los, or las correctly. You take out the rest of the sentence, or the question, the last part of the question, and replace it with lo, la, los, or las. For the most part, you just look at the first word and what I've crossed out, and use that word, like los, la, la here, except if it's L, and then you use lo. So hopefully this makes sense. What you'll be doing today is you'll be answering these questions. What I did was I took 15 questions from the ones that were submitted, and I put them on here. These are almost identical to the questions you'll be seeing tomorrow on the quiz. Again, start with yes or no, change the first word to the I form, and then use lo, la, los, or las to replace the last part of the sentence. Please make sure when you're done with this, you turn it in on Edmodo, and then if you have any remaining time, you can use that time to work on wordplay. If you spend a total of 15 minutes on that, you'll have 2 extra credit points coming for the quiz tomorrow. Hasta luego.